I love you guys all dearly. And know who else we love? Kanye West, who just dropped a new album last week. Yay!
Don't we? There must be two wees.
Sorry. Brooke's gonna go down the rabbit hole to just a few, but he dropped his new album.
Must be two wees.
Okay, fine. I like Kanye West. Hate me for it, but he dropped his new album to much fanfare. But what the real event that people are talking about with Kanye's new album is his clarity and really just being open about his mental health state. Now, Big Boy, who is a radio personality, was actually in Jackson Hole with Kanye during the exclusive listening party, where he really went in deep with Kanye, asking him questions about lyrics within the LP content and a lot of the genesis to what Ye is about. One of the questions that he had asked him was, Kanye, what is the reasoning for making this album? And Kanye said, hey, I've never been diagnosed until I was 39. And this is talking about his mental health. Now, Kanye, in the imagery, in the album, yes, says, I'm bipolar. But in the interview, he doesn't say he's bipolar. So a lot of people have been, asking the question, is he not? But I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that he is. But he says, I've never been diagnosed until I was 39. And he also says, I was just too sensitive. But I'm so blessed and privileged because think about people that have mental issues that are not Kanye West that can't go and make an album and feel good about it. Think about somebody that does exactly what I did at TMZ, referring to his stint at TMZ, and they just do that at work, right? But then Tuesday morning, they come in and they lose their job and they can't go back and make that. That's why God put me on at age 40, he continues. So he's talking about his mental health. When I actually watched the whole interview, because it was on Big Boy's YouTube channel, for a brief second, and I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this, I actually identified with Kanye when it came to mental health, and he seemed so relatable and so accessible, albeit all the weird things he's done in the last 6 months. Brooke, what did you think?
No, I don't think it's bad at all. I don't think you should get any flack for feeling for someone going through struggling. And I think that's probably why you got flustered there, because I know mental health is something that's really important to you. It's a lot of information, and he's being really open. And I do like that idea. He kind of talked about what happened at TMZ and how people going into their regular jobs, they don't get forgiven the next day. They don't get to have a possibly manic episode, and then what the stigma is. And I think anything that kind of takes the weight and the stigma away a little bit is good.
Yeah, that you can recognize that.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear you guys heard the album though, yeah?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I listened to the album. I also think that Kanye does very well in interview settings like that. So remember the interview with Charlemagne that came out, and it was taped before a lot of the other things came out. In that interview, I think we talked about it here, it is easy to relate to him and be like, okay, I think when you hear a 1 minute soundbite of Kanye, maybe you don't understand, but when you listen to him talk for 40 minutes, you're like, okay, I think I kind of understand where he's coming from. And I think the Big Boy interview is kind of similar in that sense. So those are the interview formats that he really excels in, that I think it's the easiest to understand where he's coming from.
I don't know if he's bipolar, but I love that album art. It is just so well put. And that's the crazy, and then that's the issue with people who have at least the mental disabilities that it seems, or challenges anyways, that Kanye is facing. I hate being bipolar, it's awesome.
It's pretty much, it's brilliant because that's what bipolar is, two juxtapositions in the personality. He also was asked about why he redid the album, because Big Boy had the opportunity to hear earlier Ye, or that's not what the album was titled initially, but earlier works from the album, and Kanye says, I completely redid the album after TMZ. We just sat there and really honed in on the words. Also, we know it's all about headlines. Every bar can be used against him. So he knows that his stuff is fodder for tabloids and ammo for anything that he does going forward.
It adds, his mental conditions that he's talking about kind of adds an extra variable of challenge to him on when he can seem awesome versus when he can seem terrible. Because when I think of Kanye, I think of someone who is, I have never been more effusive about how awesome an artist is, but then I haven't ever been more critical about someone's behaving. And when you add into not just finding is he better when he's just freestyling in an interview, talking with someone, or a super produced track or an edited tweet, you have to add his mental state at the time is a variable you can't depend on. So you can't always say that big interviews with Charlemagne are great versus tweets versus songs.
But people online though, Brooke, you went down this rabbit hole all weekend, because I was talking to you all weekend. What were they saying online?
Oh, so about the album, after first listen, the album got mixed opinions. Some people were calling it terrible, some people were saying magical, but I do have to say one thing that is not opinion is it went #1 on iTunes very quickly, kind of in this time where people say they're still boycotting Kanye. And I want to break down some of the lyrics because understandably so, people are calling them enlightening and also alarming. But before we do that, I want to know what you guys thought about the album because we all had to listen to it for work purposes.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Doesn't sound like it.
No, I did. I mean, this doesn't matter, but I did prefer Daytona by Pusha T that came out around like a week. But
were you a Clips fan, like in high school, middle school?
No, I actually wasn't, but I do like. But I like Daytona. Anyway, no, I like this. It starts off with like in a pretty shocking way that is not really what I would have expected for Kanye to open up the album. But I loved the last song, which was Victim. What is it?
Violent Crimes.
Violent Crimes. Yeah, I thought that was like a really interesting and vulnerable song. So I thought it's short, it's 7 songs. Would have liked more, but I thought it was good.
That's a part of like a bigger plan, the 7 songs. Since he's producing, I think 5 albums in total this summer and all by himself. And so everybody only gets 7 songs.
Well, 7's also if you listen to the interview with Big Boy, he's super spiritual, and so 7's like one of God's number. Yea is one of the most used words in the Bible, it means you. So he went into this whole talk track about the number 7 and that. I thought the album was fantastic. I mean, regardless of, we've had this conversation on Pop Sugar about removing our opinion about the artist and just enjoying the art. I thought the opening monologue about being, premeditated murder was kind of weird, but
I loved it.
Oh,
of course you did, Grace.
It was just
You're
I
a
think
killer,
it was
Grace.
kind of a return to old younger kind of. But go ahead.
So can we look at some of those lyrics? So the one that a lot of people were talking about a lot and alarmed by. I'm going to read it to you. Today I thought about killing you, premeditated murder. You'd only care enough to kill somebody you love. First of all, no, that's actually not true. And
yeah, but most often, I think Grace will attest, the person who gets murdered is an acquaintance of someone who's the murderer.
That you possibly be in a relationship with.
Usually, I mean,
right.
Lacey Peterson.
Right.
I mean, ideally, if you love them, you keep them alive.
People were saying like, it kind of makes like glamorizes abusive relationships and this idea that
I can see that.
So it's scary, but then is it also just a song? Next one, what do you guys think about this one? He was talking about North. I pray your body's draped more like mine, not like your mommy's. And he's talking about possibly like the future objectification of her body and how he's gonna be angered by how men are gonna talk about her. She's 4.
Well, that body has made quite a bit of money for your family, so.
And that's his daughter. I think, Mike, my husband talks about when they were younger about objectification. So I think that's a natural occurrence for a father to want his daughter to be protected. And also he probably feels a little guilty for objectifying women previously.
And I can't hold him to I'm gonna kill people I love and I hope my daughter doesn't have whatever body she would naturally develop into. I think these are just things that happen in songs.